The speed of light really is a side effect to what came first, which is largely the speed of darkness. You cannot have light unless you have the existence first. See, you can't have, I'll just break it down simply. You're looking at speed and light. What is that speed and light relative to? What is that speed and light being observed on? See, when you see that, the darkness is first, and it has a meaning that has nothing to do ultimately from the natural perspective of bad and evil. This is just the side effects to the out of balance nature, largely, like I said, to worship the masculine design. You have to have the understanding of existence to measure speed and measure light. So the speed of darkness is existence that allows the light to have an experience. So before you even get to quantify the speed of light or even try to understand what that really means, you have to first understand the existence of the darkness, the platform of experience, which is the feminine design. So this is the balance of this conscious and the subconscious, the light and the dark, the electric and the magnetic. In order to have an experience, you have to have first a plane of existence. And this is where the heliocentric model comes in to separate you from your earth mother. So you have men who are beating the shit out of women, and then you have women who are beating the shit out of men because they're both largely out of balance completely. This is the abusive side effect that is largely manifesting in different ways, individually, in relationships, in the family, in the culture, in the society, and on the earth plane as a whole. It exists in some kind of way. So you have this battered woman syndrome from a human perspective, to where you have unmet needs and unresolved issues, which could be seen as like the human resources that are filtered through the monetary system, the out of balance understanding of who and what you are culturally, that's the supremacy program as a whole. You don't know who and what you are. That's a need that you need. That's something that you are. You need that understanding in order to be balanced. And if you don't understand that, if you don't understand what a woman is, and you don't understand what a man is, and you don't understand what an Aboriginal American is, then you are setting the foundation to be controlled. And that's by design. And then the side effects to that are anxiety, insecurity, depression. This all exists on a societal scale, going down to seeking love as a solution. Then you have people who are doing this shit. This is the side effect to seeking love as a solution. This bullshit ass version, this attention worshipping, is perfect for the system, because it's just further pushing women and the divine feminine essence out of balance and keeping them in that destructive mentality of needing attention and calling that love. The difference between that which is normal and that which is natural. That which is normal is this out of balanced relationship that we have with each other and ourselves. You will have side effects. Those side effects are being amplified by the system to maintain dominance and control over everybody, men, women, and children, culture and society. So this is why the normalization program is expanded and the relationship to nature is destroyed, literally destroying the rainforest and everything that you are that is natural. So this is abusive. This is an abusive relationship that women have with themselves. It's no different than like I said in the last video or video before last. We're still in 1930, 1920. Psychologically and in reference to human consciousness, not much has changed. It's just gotten a different face. So that artificial version of seeking love has been just like this superficial version of relationships and love that is, expanded by the marriage and reproduction program and bullshit interactions with each other like Valentine's Day. Just empty, dead, just completely hollowed out versions of what love really is, hollowed out versions of what a man really is, hollowed out versions of what a woman really is. And it just gets expanded on further and further. In fact, social media and technology expedites that process because you have more inputs every day. How many times a day do people look at social media? That, and understand that that's a mind control program. How is that affecting people individually and overall the human consciousness? So when you see these babies who are super smart, that is why you have the expedited versions of mind control programming that's going on, is because naturally, which is always first, we are doing this expansion naturally. It has nothing to do with technology. Ultimately, technology is largely being used as a way to suppress the expansion of human consciousness and expand the divide and conquer program. So you have this seeking love as a solution, then finding temporary relief. Then you can go to, you can do that with these shitty ass relationships, band-aids that are placed on relationships, band-aids that are placed on internal relationships. And social media is also a temporary relief. It's a distraction, desensitization, just to get by. Wake up the next day and do it again in another style. Pleasing and appeasing your partner. You're doing this with yourself. You're doing this with friends, family, trying to do something that you think is the way it's supposed to be. And the status quo of that reality is largely out of balance. So if you have people trying to be like trying to make an out of balance relationship work on a human scale, on a societal scale, on a cultural scale, then that's just an expansion of the program. So a partner is controlling and abusive. This is the relationship, like I explained in the bad guy, good guy scenario, where you have the President Trump who does this, or even Obama. They do something really good and then they do something, or really good in reference to that program. It's largely just bullshit. But they do good things and then they do bad things. They play the good cop and the bad cop. They play the villain and the superhero. And largely because they're in control and you've been manipulated by all these movies to always hope for the superhero to win. And then they actually do in these movies. Then you translate that into reality. So this is why we are bombarded by action movies, abusive storylines, the horror genre, and all these other programs that are designed to keep you thinking and acting a certain way. It's controlling, it's abusive, and it manifests. You see these movies, you see the politics, you see the relationship between you and teachers. You see the relationship between the church and its followers. You see the relationship that humanity has with history. It doesn't look at this stuff that has happened. Just like in relationships, they don't look at things in order to keep the relationship going. But once you start looking at this stuff, that's when actual change starts to happen. That lack of looking is abusive. And it goes into angry and afraid and withdrawn. This is where people shut down and they just say, well, I'm just going to go to work. I'm just going to go to work and take care of my basic human needs, take care of my kids, keep my head down, stay successful in the world, get my money right, get all that bullshit that gets put out by the egotistical version of experiencing reality. And that's largely anger. Internally, people are angry. Internally, people are afraid. Why this information, like the stuff that I speak about on my channel and other people speak about, why it's not hip, why it's not trendy, why it's not cool and popular and all that other shit, is because largely the subconscious vibration of humanity is still based upon fear. This animalistic consciousness, fear of your slave masters, fear of not being accepted, fear of being beat down psychologically by the status quo. This is all fear, and this is anchored in the animalistic consciousness and the out of balance natures of reality and so on and so forth. See, and then it gets overcompensated by, we overcompensate our experience, like when you have these giant egomaniacal men who have to dominate the conversation or dominate their women or dominate. This is what video games are. This is because it's largely hiding this anger. It's largely hiding what's internally. It's being acted out. You are able to act out what you are not able to speak about. So we are being desensitized and manipulated to handle our situation and our anger from a space of separation and a space of pretty much non-engagement overall. Then you have people who are seeking reconciliation. So this is the political scene. You could see this as Democrats and Republicans. How I explained how you have the ups and downs of politics and how that's just acted out largely in order to control the population. This is why Trump was out there saying on the platform of Make America Great Again. They didn't make Donald Trump president. They made what he was saying president. They made his idea, Make America Great Again. That's what's president. That's who is the president right now. So they can just do whatever the hell they want and say that's greatness. And they have the patsy of Donald Trump to just have you focused on an individual when it's the system itself that is largely destroying everything. And since all of your focus is on Donald Trump and on the checker game, then you will never understand the system as a whole. So things get back to normal. This is what happens with all of the politics and everything. It's the up and down. It's the having to just constantly put band-aids, and it's only normal. Like I said, it doesn't get back to natural because you yourself hasn't changed. So, and sure as hell the relationship isn't going to change. So it isn't going to get back to natural. It's only going to get back to normal if you are lost in that normal vibration, normalization. Then it goes back to the up and, like I said, the up and down. Then you have the crash again, the unmet needs and unresolved issues. This is the abusive relationship that we have with ourselves, with our partners, with our children, with our culture, with the earth, with the stars, and with the sun and the moon. It's an abusive relationship. And the side effects are shit like this. The over-sexualization in order to close the gaps of not having any love, not having any affection, not being seen for who and what we are, both men and women. Largely women, because this is a patriarchal program, and the women have to go extra. They have to be extra in order to be equal. Men got it easy in a sense, because of the focus of the system is to keep the divine feminine aspect down, because the whole universe is based upon the masculine design. So this is why you have all these men presidents and all these like worshiping of these people, and then like manipulating of how you experience this reality, and worshiping people like Beyonce, and then she's largely out there just showing her ass, and then There's no depth to her on a divine feminine basic, like a basic divine feminine essence. She's largely worshipped by her looks. And then people will defend that to the umpteenth degree. Oh, well, she gets him. No. Give me a break. Break it down energetically. We have to first understand that it exists before we can actually see it. So now that it's being seen, then we can start processing this energy and this information so we don't become subject to it, and then start bringing balance back to who and what we are internally and externally, in our families, in our relationship with our children, in culture, society, so on and so forth. But big stuff like the separation from technology, just to utilize it for what it is, but to really be anchored in the natural perspective. The heliocentric model is designed to separate you from nature, ultimately.